the intruder. Wait, why do I have to kill the guy? Can't I just scare him, wing him, hold him for the cops? No, it doesn't count unless you kill the intruder. Who came up with this rule? Phil Spector? But still, who are all these homeowners that are dying with their own guns? Well, the principal way people are killed with their own guns is suicide, it turns out. That isn't what we were imagining when you told us, don't buy that gun, it's going to be more likely to kill you than kill an intruder. No, I'm pretty certain I'm not going to commit suicide. And if I were, I would definitely use carbon monoxide to contribute to global warming. Japan has gun control laws that would warm Michael Bloomberg's heart, and they have one of the highest suicide rates in the world. There's no connection between owning a gun and committing suicide. But all of the guns being used against their owners, it's like not more than 90% are suicides. This is a trick. In Japan, they just leap in front of trains, jump out of tall buildings. Why don't we send Bloomberg over there to have them, warn them to have tall building and train control?
That's not very accurate.
Which reminds me, you notice how we always find out that the gun prohibitionists have their own guns or armed guards? Michael Bloomberg, Dianne Feinstein. That's great if you can have it both ways like that. Dress up gun control as because it's the right thing to do. Well, you have a phalanx of armed guards. But why doesn't Michael Bloomberg disarm his guards, his bodyguards? You know, trust the statistics, Michael. Trust the statistics. Those guns are more likely to kill you than to kill a criminal, Mike. No, their position always is, in fairness, I think only I should have a gun. Which is such a weird coincidence, because I think, in fairness, only I should have a gun. As soon as politicians and media bigwigs give up their guns, I'll believe them when they say guns don't work for self-defense. But until then, they're like the stockbroker telling you to sell while they are buying, or you to buy while they are selling. Now, Americans understand this. They understand guns, unlike Democrats, and they understand rank hypocrisy. After all their prancing around saying they were going to limit magazine capacity and have harassing gun checks at gun shows, limit... What was that? Is that Michael Bloomberg? Is that the NSA? Well, I hope they're listening. Liberals got smashed down, and they always do on guns. Remember, right-wingers always make guns an issue when we're running for office. I expect the same thing will happen on Amnesty for illegal aliens. How many times do we have to go through this? Weren't we just through this with Bush and McCain? It's like, you may have heard this on Chris Matthews, he stole it from my book, Slander. The joke about the dog food company, the executive calls them all in and says, what is going on? Our dog food isn't selling. We have the best cuts of beef. We have the best designed labels. We brought in the top artists. We have the snappiest jingles. And one of his staffers said to him morosely, the dogs don't like it. That's us on Amnesty. We don't care how much money you put into it. We don't care how many former Tea Partiers we used to like come out for it. We don't want amnesty. All of these politicians, you notice when they're running for office, like Marco Rubio ran against Charlie Crist saying, path to legalization, that's just code for amnesty. I think this is a mistake. It attracts more illegal immigrants if you give them amnesty. As soon as he's in office, he comes up with the next McCain amnesty bill. He goes around saying, no, my plan is enforcement first. And then you read the bill, and it's first, everyone here illegally is legalized. Now, his plan is dessert first. We start the diet tomorrow. It should be the reverse. In New York, for every day you're late registering your car, you have to wait that many days to re-register. For every day you're in this country illegally, you should have to wait that many days to apply for a visa. not to try to get the best immigrants it can get? Try calling up another country's embassy. Hello, India. I don't have any skills or money, but I hear the weather is good there and I like the food. And oh, by the way, if I can't make it in your economy, would you mind cutting me a check once a month? Not so fast, Skippy. By contrast, we, in a seller's market, the most prosperous, free, exceptional nation in the history of the world, our immigration policy is anyone who lives within walking distance. The theory of anchor babies is, if I successfully break into your house, I get to own it. And if I can't own it, at least my kids get to own it. Don't punish the children. I told them I owned the house.
I don't think I've heard that.
Not only do illegal immigrants get to come here because they live within walking distance, a highly desirable quality apparently, but they get to bring all their cousins and third cousins and fourth cousins. That's family reunification. This is legal immigration under our current laws. No, in America, family means your spouse and your kids. Describing family reunification as third cousins, brothers-in-law. No, that is tribal reunification. That's third world stuff. But because of these family reunification policies, we're required to take the Pakistani push cart operator who is illiterate in his own language, never mind ours, over the surgeon from Denmark. Those are our legal immigration policies. This weird idea has somehow taken hold that it's unfair for America to try to get the best immigrants out there, skim the cream for the world. Yeah, it's unfair for that top model to date the rich, good-looking guy. She should be forced to date unemployed losers. And how about the Notre Dame football team? How about they start, giving an equal chance to the midgets and not 300-pound star football players? Maybe they have a lottery system. We're always told, as if it's good news, that immigrants here take government assistance at only 15% above the native-born rate. No, not a good deal. It's like saying, oh, and only 30% of the food had rat feces in it. No, there should be no immigrants taking welfare. Isn't that by definition the immigrant we don't want? The ones who come here and instantly need taxpayer assistance? No, we need that for our own citizens. It's this strange conception of fairness. America went fairness crazy in the 60s and 70s. It's just considered unfair that some people have certain skills and are better at other things than other people. It's one thing to be applying quotas and discrimination in favor of people who suffered under the Democrats' Jim Crow policies. It's another thing entirely to be applying quotas and favor treatment to people who have never set foot in this country. We owe them nothing. If you have grievances, go back and address the perpetrators. We didn't do anything to you.
That's what you have.
We got our immigration policies, which I think should set off some red flags, from Teddy Kennedy, whose 1965 Immigration Act was specifically designed to change the population of America. They needed a new set of voters. Democrats weren't doing very well at the polls, and all these Christians kept having lots of kids. So they changed the electorate, and you saw the result of it. In last year's presidential election, Mitt Romney got a higher percentage of white voters than Reagan did in 1980. He would have won by a larger amount than Reagan won in 1980 if this were the same demographically as the country was in 1980. In 1980, the country was 88% white. Today, it's 63% white. That's Teddy Kennedy's doing again. Shouldn't that be setting off some red flags, Teddy Kennedy? And it's these amnesty policies and dysgenic Immigration policies are continued by Republicans sucking up to businessmen who say they're our friends, but couldn't care less about the Republican Party. They don't care about the country, they don't care about the culture, they want cheap labor. And the plutocrats seem to have the ear of Marco Rubio and John Boehner and Eric Cantor. No, we're Republicans. We're the party of the middle class. We're the party of the people. We're the populist party, not the very, very rich and not the welfare recipients, unless they're at least native born. If illegal immigrants competed directly with yuppies, rich businessmen, Mark Zuckerberg, senators, and reporters, I don't think we'd be hearing so much about compassion toward the rest of the world. These amnesty plans only screw low-wage workers, especially black Americans. My whole life I've been told Republicans hate black people. I never believed it until I saw Marco Rubio's amnesty plan. Republicans have always stood with black people, and they should do it again on amnesty. Blacks have roots in this country as long as, and longer in many cases, than most white Americans. We owe them something more than we owe an illegal alien who has just run across the border.
Yep.
Recently, this has been a one-sided relationship as blacks vote overwhelmingly for the Democrats, but I don't think that should deter us from doing the right thing. The Republican Party always has done the right thing, not only for black Americans, but for all Americans. I always tell people, if you're not sure what your position on illegal immigration is, ask yourself, do I have a chauffeur, a cook, a maid, a nanny, a pool boy? Because if you don't, illegal immigration is a net loss for you. As Tom Tancredo famously said, cheap labor is only cheap for the employer. Yeah, they pay cheap wages. The taxpayers have to make it up with food assistance, housing assistance, child assistance. So all of us pay to subsidize the cheap labor of the plutocrats. I'm pretty sure that as with the earlier amnesty plans, and Bush and McCain found out, Marco Rubio is about to find out that most Americans do still raise their own kids and cook their own food and clean their own houses, drive their own cars. Politicians, journalists, lobbyists may be in favor of changing the country in a way Americans didn't ask for, but I don't think Americans are for that. The dogs don't like it. We like the country just the way it is. Thank you very much.